And a very good afternoon to you. If you're joining us live, hello and welcome. If you're watching on replay, then hi. So welcome to our second ever Finance in 15 finance webinar. It's the second week we've run this, and we're running these every Friday lunchtime. It's a short, sharp webinar, 15 minutes of content followed by Q&A, so that you can learn something useful that you can go and implement straight away into your business. So let's kick off. Before I do kick off, please let me know if you're watching. Give me a like, give me a comment, let me know you're there. And if you're watching on replay, please join in and put #replay and leave any comments you've got. Those comments you leave are really useful to me because they let me think about future content for you, and they're a source of coaching questions for the live coaching sessions on Monday. So please do join in. Let me know what you're thinking. Let me know what your questions are. I am looking at everything that goes through the group, and I will be using that to help bring you much more helpful content that will really give you what you need. So let's kick off. So these webinars are all about being short and punchy single topic webinars so that you can learn, take notes and take action and really make a change in your business. I will just say as I'm going through here, unless you click the little link that says give access to StreamYard, I can't actually see who you are on my comments field. So hello Yvonne, hello Rebecca, I can see you. Thank you very much. Okay. So this week we are talking about financial routines and processes. This was by far the winner of the poll that we did when we launched the week before last. No, maybe it was last week. Time is flying. So financial routines and processes, which surprised me because it is not the most exciting topic out there, but clearly it's something you want to know. And actually, I have to say it is fundamentally important to any business that wants to get financial success. So I'm very glad that you all chose that topic. Now, when you think about your admin, does it feel more like this? Or does it feel more like this? I can say for most small businesses, chaos around finance is very common. It is much more common for people to feel quite disorganized and not really knowing how they take control of this part of their business so that it doesn't cause so much pain on a sort of daily, weekly and monthly basis. So I'd be interested to know in the comments, which one do you identify most with? Are we talking chaos or are we talking zen like calm? I would love to know. So here's the thing. For many businesses, finance stuff is a bit chaotic. And I think that's because finance isn't anyone's natural skill set unless you're a nerdy accountant like me. Although I'm not so much of an accountant these days, to be fair. So it is quite chaotic in most businesses. But I guess you could ask, well, so what? Does it really matter? As long as I file my accounts at the end of the year, does it really matter how I do my finances? Well, the answer is, I'm just looking for the feed so I can see who's on the call. Nope, I can't find it. Never mind, I'll focus on this. So what? So the thing is, if your finance admin and routines are chaotic or you don't even have any routines and structure around your finance, this is what's going to be happening in your business. It's going to feel quite stressful and frustrating because you're always in that point of going, where's that? Where's this? I don't know when to pay this. How are we doing financially? So it is just stressful and frustrating. And if you're in a state of stress and frustration, you are not going to be doing the very, very best for your business. Hello, Claire. Great. You are on the right path, I have to say. You're really making progress. And you won't know where you are financially unless you are fully in control of your finances and your admin and you've got your numbers together. You are going to be running blind financially. And that's probably the most important one for where I'm coming from, is because I know you've got to have financial visibility if you want to control your future and build financial freedom into your business. You're not going to spot problems coming in time to fix them, because when we've got great financial information, you will see a problem coming miles off and you'll be able to fix it before it ever becomes a problem to you. When you're in chaos, they just kind of hit you one after another, and you spend your life in reaction trying to fix cash flow problems or billing problems. So we want to get you out of those states and into a state of beautifully organized so that everything just flows and you can get on with the real job. And that feeling of always being in backlog is pretty demoralizing, really, isn't it? You always feel like you're running uphill, fighting a battle just to stay on top. When we get these things into a routine, that all goes away. And then financial shocks. If you're not in control and you haven't got that routine, financial shocks can come at you, which can be very destabilizing and disruptive. and very stressful as well. So again, this whole thing about being in calm control of our finances means that these don't happen. You're going to have patchy and potentially incorrect financial information if things aren't running smoothly, because things won't be up to date. There'll be stuff missing from your figures. You're not going to know who owes you money, what your bank balance is, what your cash flow forecast is saying. So it just makes things feel difficult. And it just feels like this kind of uphill battle trying to stay on top of everything. Your year end is going to be more difficult because you're going to be being chased by your accountant months and months after year end for stuff that really should have been in order all the way through. So it's almost worth it just for that. And then because of that, you won't know what your tax bills are going to be. Whereas if you're on top of things every week, every month, you already know what your tax bill is going to be next year, and you can make sure you've got your cash put away. You remember we talked about that when we talked about buffer cash and taxes in that first webinar I did. It is difficult to make fast and smart decisions if your finances are a bit chaotic. And again, business is tougher these days than it has ever been. It's only going to get tougher, I guess, as we go through the recovery and all the things that are going to change this year. So we need to be able to make fast decisions that are smart for our business and, really have control of our business rather than it kind of running us. And those lack of controls and process are going to mean a higher risk of fraud, costly mistakes and profit leaks happening right across your business. The fraudsters are so aggressive and sophisticated. If you're not right on the ball, there's a really high chance of you being defrauded in your business. And the honest truth is that financial success will be elusive if you don't have control of this part of your business. So, there are so many reasons why having finance stuff. The guys are saying hello to me. If you haven't clicked on the link to say accept the thingy from StreamYard, just let me know who you are, then I can say hello back. So really, guys, just, there's no arguments really for staying in chaos, because it just causes so much more pain than just keeping on top of things in the first place. Okay. And the thing is, chaotic businesses are rarely financially successful. And I can tell you this from 20 years of working with hundreds and hundreds of companies. The ones who are in chaos, because of all those reasons on the previous slide, they don't get to that point of consistent financial success. That they may kind of get a lucky break and do well for a few months or a year, but there's something about that fundamental lack of structure, control and routine that means their business finances are always on shaky ground, and they're never making that consistent progress towards the goals that they want. And you'll know this from doing, John Harlow, hello. And you'll know this from books you read about business success. The key to success in business is that consistency of effort of doing the right things. It's not about the big idea or the lucky break. It's about the slog and the consistency of keep doing those right things. And finance sits at the absolute heart of your business success. So why do we need to have financial routines? So apart from the fact there's a hell of a lot of pain by not being in control, these are actually the pluses of why you really want to have those controls in place. So first thing, things will feel very calm and orderly, which is good. We need calm and order in this world. There's enough chaos going on without us adding to it. You'll have accurate financial intelligence so you can make those fast and smart decisions. And as we know, we need that ability to look ahead, see where we are, make decisions about where to go, what to invest in, maybe about cutting costs or changing direction. We have to have great information to be able to do that. You will see those problems coming in time to fix them. They're not going to be on your doorstep before you know it. You'll see them 3 months out, and you will have that chance to fix them first. You'll know what your tax bills are, so you can put the money in the bank and never have to worry about paying your tax bill ever again. Your year end will be completed quickly. No one wants year end hanging over them for months and months. It's bloody awful. And it means then that your accounts will get filed more quickly. So your credit ratings will get more updated more quickly. Just a side note, if you leave your accounts to be filed quite late in the year, your credit rating starts dropping because the algorithm assumes that you have bad news and you're filing late because you've got bad news. So it actually drops your credit rating the later you file them. So another reason, get them done quickly, then you know where you stand. There'll be a much lower risk of fraud and accounting errors by keeping on top of things all the time. You can get your debtors in, so your customers, you can get their money in quicker. Whereas if you're kind of invoicing late and a bit chaotic, you're always in that slight losing battle of, can we chase that invoice? Or I don't know, haven't got the paperwork. So get that money in quickly, reduce your risk of bad debt. That is going to be a big issue this year. Companies are going to be failing this year like never before in all likelihood. So you've got to be on top of those debtors every single week without fail. Once a month doesn't cut it. And being calm and efficient takes less time than chaos and random. So you will get more time back by being organized and being on top of this stuff. So these really are the foundation of your financial control and success. So someone has to do this stuff. So you're probably thinking, this is fine, but who gets to do it? Depends on the size of your company, depends on what resources you've got, but somebody has got to do this. If it isn't you, then who will do it? And make sure you delegate those tasks very clearly to that person or people so that you know these things will always get done as a matter of absolute routine. And you need to make every part of your finances a system, a process, or a routine. So everything that comes into play in finance, I want you to be thinking, how can I make that part of my routine? How can I make that a process so that someone just does it every day or week or month so that I don't have to keep thinking about it? Or if it's me doing that work, it's somewhere in a process where I can just open up and follow it without thinking, what do I do? How do I do it? We want to eliminate random and ad hoc from any part of your finances. So there are three main areas for you to get into a routine. The first thing is the bookkeeping, which is the things that make up your accounts in the first place. Without really solid, accurate, timely bookkeeping, we'll never have the information we need to make those decisions. Then we've got stuff that needs authorizing and checking to make sure it's okay. And then we've got the information that you actually need to be in control of your business. So I'm going to take you through each of those now. So first of all, bookkeeping routines. I know, how exciting, but get these routines in place and it will stop being an absolute grind on your time. So set clear deadlines every month for all of your bookkeeping to be fully complete and reconciled. So none of this, are the books done yet? When are they going to be ready? Okay, I want my accounts, bookkeeping finished by the end of week 1. Give it a hard deadline and make sure that person knows that they're responsible for getting the accounts done on that date. Make sure your sales are invoiced by the last day of the month at the very latest. So ideally invoice as you go along if you can, but do not be sending out invoices at the end of the first week of the next month or even longer. And there's someone on this call I know I'm talking to. That you know who I am, you know who you are. But get your invoices out quickly, because if you want to get paid on time, get your invoice out. Plus, it makes you look a bit daft if you don't invoice on time. It makes you look slapdash and disorganized, and we don't want our customers thinking that. Make sure your bank statements on your Sage, on your accounting package, make sure your bank is reconciled to the statement. There is a belief around these automated accounting packages like your Xero and your QuickBooks that it does it all for you and you don't need to check anything. Whereas in the olden days on Sage, we'd key it all in and we'd check it back to our statements. These systems are not fail-safe, I promise you. It is very easy to get them to duplicate or to actually miss out transactions. You must make sure your bookkeeper has allocated and reconciled to your statement. Make sure mileage and expense claims are submitted and authorized every month. I see so often in clients where you've got 6 months of mileage claims or expense claims suddenly hit and wipe a chunk of profit out. That is not okay. They've got to be in every single month. Make sure you've got all your purchase invoices from your suppliers. Make sure the bookkeeping has been reviewed and the balance sheet reconciled. I'll go into that in more detail on another webinar, but just whacking everything through from the invoices and the bank does not equal accurate bookkeeping. There's a lot of twiddly bits that have to be done to check it's all reconciled and accurate. And make sure your credit control is done absolutely regularly, definitely weekly. And if you've got sticky people, you need to be in there every day chasing them. So stuff that needs checking and authorizing. All purchase invoices must be checked and authorized. Again, in the olden days, you may remember we'd get our invoices through the post, we'd stamp them, we'd send them round for signature, and then we put them on the system. Nowadays, they're just spurted straight into the accounting package. And we see so many invoices now that have gone in by mistake, or they're fraudulent invoices, or they're duplicate invoices, or things that should have been cancelled or credited. So make sure your system is set up to bring your invoices in and then have them sitting, waiting on your system for authorization. That's easy to set up. Then you as the owner or whoever can go in and actually authorize them off There's so much risk of you having too much cost and paying bills that aren't due. Credit card statements must be in and checked and authorized. Again, mistakes happen all the time. Check your sales are invoiced out and that you have reconciled them to something, so you know you've billed everything you should have done. When supplier payments are made, make sure there's an authorization pointer, that you haven't got a bookkeeper with access to your bank without you double checking and having that second level of authorization and sign off. Payroll reports, again, make sure payroll reports are authorized and checked, and that the payments out of the bank are signed off at a second level of security, not just a bookkeeper. And then you need to be checking every month the detailed nominal expense transactions, because this shows up where things might be missing or duplicated, or sometimes, you see costs on there you thought you'd cancelled months ago, especially with all these subscriptions that we sign up to. So checking these things every month really keeps things on track. Now, the information to control your business with, there's some real pillars here that we'll be talking about a lot more in future months. Monthly management accounts. Have a deadline every month that you get your accounts, whether it's you doing them yourself or your bookkeeper or accountant sending them to you. You must have a deadline that you get them every month. And can I just say, you must never, ever, quarterly accounts are never okay. Never, ever are quarterly accounts okay. You must have them monthly. And then you need to review them and understand them. And this is your point for course correction. Am I on track? Yes or no? Where have we overspent, underspent? We need to course correct using our financial information. Cash flow forecasting, either daily, weekly or monthly, depending on your circumstances and how often you need it. But again, it must be a routine, not an ad hoc, oh my God, cash feels tight, quick, do a cash flow forecast. That just creates panic and it puts you out of control. The weekly flash report, again, I will talk about this in the future. It's a very, very powerful weekly report that gives you total visibility of now and the future, and it gives you a chance to change the outcome of each month. And then review your debtors and creditors report every week. If someone else does your credit control, it's very important that you as the owner are seeing those reports every week, because they're kind of a bit of a benchmark, a snapshot of what's going on in the business. And sometimes creditors are falling overdue and you may not know until it becomes a bit too late. And there's a couple of final points I just want to make. Bookkeeping is not an admin job. There are a lot of people who think bookkeeping is just admin. You just whack it into the system. It isn't. Bookkeeping is a highly skilled job, and it takes someone with a fair degree of knowledge and skill to actually do bookkeeping accurately. So I want you to be aware of that when you're thinking about your records. And if you're relying on them and making decisions without knowing they're accurate, just want you to have a think about that, because it's a major problem in a lot of companies we go into. Bookkeeping packages do not do it all for you. They need checking, they need reviewing, they need reconciling. And by all means, delegate this stuff, but never, ever abdicate the financial control and the financial understanding in your business to anybody else. Because if you don't care about your finances and you don't care enough to be interested and understand it, how would you expect anybody else to care as much as you should? If you don't care, and I tell you, the message goes straight through. The boss doesn't care about this stuff. Why do I? If you don't value your bookkeeper and what they do, they will soon feel very devalued and they just won't care, because that's just human nature. So I actually managed to overrun by 3 minutes on that, which was impressive. So now I would like to ask if anyone has got any questions, please, on anything I've said there. And we have got about a 15-second time delay on this broadcast package, so I will just wait and see what you've got. Let's go through the feed so far. Yeah, not knowing that about your year-end accounts. I know it's an interesting point, isn't it? It's, yeah, when you're filing late, it does make quite a big difference. Although if you have genuinely got bad news to hide, filing late is a very good strategy, because you don't want to alert your customers and your suppliers that your credit ratings drop. So if the news is bad, push it to the end of the year. But clearly this year is going to be a unique year. Lots of people are going to have difficult results potentially. Come on, we must have some questions in there. Okay, I will. Really useful. Great. And I think really, okay. What software would you recommend? Sole Trader. Oh, I really honestly would, for how easy it is these days and how cheap it is, I would get a copy of either Xero or QuickBooks. Ask your accountant which one they prefer, because it's good to use one that your accountant's really happy with. But it just means that all your bank statements get downloaded in, your invoices get uploaded. You can photograph with your phone or your receipts and they just upload, so you're not faffing around with stuff. And they've got some great tutorials on these online cloud platforms. So I think for any size of business, get it onto a system because it's just so much easier. Then your accountant isn't trawling through, shoe boxes of receipts and spreadsheets and stuff. So that would be my recommendation. I would actually use a system. What would I recommend? In terms of recommendations, I personally I love Sage from the old days, but that's gone now, so I've had to move on. I use Xero. I can't say I love it, but that's because I'm an accountant. I think accountants, business owners tend to love Xero. Accountants generally think because it's designed to be user friendly to the business owner, so it lacks some of the accountancy functions that we as accountants love. I personally think Xero is really robust. It's by far, I think, the biggest, most widely used package out there. But I think people who use QuickBooks love QuickBooks. People who use Xero love Xero. So I think they're fairly similar. I would maybe talk to your accountant or actually ask a question in the group. I'm sure you will get loads of people telling you which ones that they prefer. Where would you start if it's not something that's currently in place? And if you have a backlog? Yeah, I think if there is a backlog, it's worth getting someone in who actually knows what they're doing, who can chunk through that work much more quickly. So someone who actually can come in and organize it, get it onto an accounting system and help you set those controls and processes up. Definitely. Because really, if you're the business owner, if you go off doing that kind of stuff, I know there's a cost implication to getting help with that, but if you're doing it, who's doing the business owner's job? And and I'm a very strong believer on you should do what only you can do, which I'll be talking about next week when we talk about time management and time mastery. So yeah, I would get someone in to do it for you who you can measure. Get a virtual PA, talk to your accountant, or find a great bookkeeper, but get one that's recommended because there are a lot of really rubbish bookkeepers out there who can do quite a lot of damage. If you run a charity and need to claim gift aid, try Expense Plus. Thank you, Becca. That's useful to know. And what I'll do, I will save down the slide deck for this in the group so that actually you can work back through that and have a look at what those things I put on those checklists. But the key thing is anything in your business where you are, it's around your finances, just think, is it in a routine? Is it in a process? And if it's not, then let's just sit down and just maybe post-it note it, write down all the bits you've got to do, and then see how they can fit into some kind of routine where every Monday morning I do that. Every Friday I or someone does that. So we have a routine where my VA and my ops manager make sure that all my bookkeeping is finished by day X, and then by a certain date I know I can do the management accounts because everything's been checked and reconciled and it's in my diary, it's scheduled, and it just happens because everyone knows what the routine is. I previously worked as an accountant and do my own accounts, but I hated QuickBooks. Might try Xero, see if it's less clunky. Yeah, I think as an accountant, you're going to, in fact, these packages do feel like a bit of a, I don't say a compromise, but yeah, I don't do my own bookkeeping. I have to say, I haven't quite mastered that in Xero. I get someone to do that for me because it's not a great use of my time. We've just moved from Xero from QuickBooks, linked with Receipt Bank. Makes life so much easier. Yes, and things like Receipt Bank and is it HubDoc, Rebecca, that we're using now? All your invoices get uploaded straight through. So your invoices come in on email and you just email them to the package and it puts them straight into your accounting system. You photograph, in these days where we'd go out and actually have expenses, we'd photograph the receipts and again, they get spurted straight into your accounting system. So they are quite a lot more fail-safe than scraps of paper everywhere. So it's all part of the routine. Worth running an admin diary with these tasks? Yes, and certainly having some sort of checklist, procedures, or diary these things and schedule these things. We'll be talking default diary planning at some point, so I'll talk to you about where you can slot those. HubDoc, thank you, Rebecca, and that comes free with Xero, which saves you paying for an extra subscription. Okay, so are there any more questions on that? So I'll upload the slide deck so you can work through those things, but really, on this journey of wanting to build financial freedom and get that consistent financial success, this is such a baseline thing of having a completely smooth, calm, controlled financial admin. So you're not thinking, oh my God, where are my receipts? Oh, we want it just to be really calm because there's enough other things that are stressful in business. Yeah, good point. Yes, you can also tell things like Receipt Bank and HubDoc. to go and fetch your things like subscription invoices, mobile phone invoice, electric and gas, and it will actually go every month, go and log in and pull the invoice back for you. Now that's quite a pain to do manually, so that's a really good time saver as well. Great, good summary of the topic with some useful reminders. Great, glad you found it useful. So if there are any more questions, I'll hang around for a couple more minutes. And please, if you're watching on replay, or if you think of something after you've watched this live, dive in, ask the questions, leave some comments. I'm always in the group and I'll come back and answer those questions for you. While I'm here, we'll just give you a reminder, we've got our live coaching session at 5 o'clock on Monday. So if you have a question you would like answering live, please book a slot. So go to the event page and book a slot, and let me know your topic. If you'd like something answered but you don't want to appear live on the session or keep it confidential, then just DM me with your question and I will answer that live for you in the coaching session on Monday afternoon at 5 o'clock. But make use of that, because as I've said in previous sessions, I do very little one-to-one work these days. So it's a good opportunity to get your question answered. Anything that might be bothering you or some sort of burning question, come and get that answered. Okay, so I don't think there's any more questions on that. I am going to wish you all a fabulous Friday afternoon. Make sure you've got your planning done for next week and you know what you're going to do, so you start the week in a really good place. And I look forward to seeing you all next week. Take care then. Bye.